Coming up this hour, Supreme Court in a unanimous ruling orders the Attorney General to produce Ghana's agreement with the U.S. government regarding the deportation of some West African nationals into the country. Also, police officers stationed at various checkpoints within the Boku enclave threatened to resign en masse if their request for immediate transfers from the area is not granted. Plus, all set for Ayawaso East by-election as candidates of the various aspiring political parties filed their nominations for the March 3rd contest. Glad that you could join us on a Fugu Wednesday like this. I am Mawina Egbeta and the bulletin starts right now. Now, this afternoon, the Supreme Court has, in a unanimous ruling, ordered the Attorney General to produce Ghana's agreement with the U.S. government regarding deportees for inspection by lawyers of Democracy Hub. The plaintiffs, the Democracy Hub, filed a suit challenging the constitutionality of the agreement between Ghana and the USA for the deportation of some West African nationals into the country, citing it as unconstitutional. The pressure group have also filed an application to enjoin the implementation of the agreement and are praying the Apex Court to compel the government to release its agreement with the Trump administration regarding the deportation of West African nationals into the countly. My colleague Lord Iduasare is in court for us, and that's where we're going right now this afternoon to get a bit more from him in relation to the development from there. Lord, thank you very much for joining us. I see you're still at the court. Walk us through the reasoning of the court in arriving at this decision and perhaps a bit more background as to why we're here.
Right, Marina. And so the 5-member panel of justices was presided over by Justice Scott Pamang. Now, they indicated that in November last year, the Deputy Attorney General in camera showed a copy of the document or the deal between Ghana's government and then the U.S. government regarding the deportation of some West African nationals into the country. You know this as this matter has been ongoing for a while, for which reason Democracy Hub took the matter to the Supreme Court, challenging its constitutionality. Now, the Attorney General has the position that as it were, the plaintiffs, the Democracy Hub, what they're doing is just fishing because, for example, the suit largely is based on media reports. And so they did not exactly know the reason for which they are in court. And so they actually showed this document to the judges in chambers. Now, after scrutinizing the documents, the judges in the ruling, they held that looking at the content of that document or content of that deal that they have perused, it will be prudent if the plaintiffs in the matter are also giving the leeway to be able to inspect it or scrutinize it so that they can all have a balanced view going forward regarding the case. And so this is not even the finality of the matter because this only advises the plaintiffs as to whether they're going to file other stuff in their statement of case regarding this issue. You recall that there are actually 3 legs to this case, Marina. They are, first of all, challenging the constitutionality of the deal between Ghana government and then the U.S. government regarding the deportation of the West African nationals. Again, then there's the injunction restraining, praying for an injunction restraining the government from continuously accepting the deportees and then also deporting them to the other countries. And then there's a third leg of it, which is asking for disclosure of this deal, because again, the Democracy Hub, they filed this suit on the back of the media reports. And Marina, again, you recall that somewhere in September last year, the president, in an engagement with the media, indicated that they had some agreements with the U.S. government, for which reason they are going to accept some deportees into the country. So it was on the back of this that they filed the suit. And so the third leg of this suit was that they were asking for the disclosure of this document so that they can be in the know of what is happening and whether it is constitutional at all. And so it was this part that the courts actually alluded to and then gave them the ruling unanimously, told the Attorney General, ordered the Attorney General to show this same document privately to the plaintiffs in the matter, same document for which they showed in chambers to the judges in court. So that's where we are right now, Marina. So the case right now, there's no agenda, because once the document has been shown to the plaintiffs, which is the Democracy Hub, then they'll file a notice for hearing, and then we'll know when they'll be back in court for the case to continue in this matter. Something that actually came up was that Oliver Barker-Vormawor, he wanted, as it were, some form of an order, contempt order, in case the AG refuses to disclose the document. Right. But then the judge, Justice Palmer, indicated that they're actually showing show of support or benefit of the doubt, and because they actually trust that they'll do the right thing, and so they didn't grant this. Barker-Vormawor has actually been responding or assessing how things went in court today. We can let him.
Absolutely.
I think it's a balanced approach that maybe the courts, we understand that the court is protective of national security considerations in the matter, and for which reason it has asked that we view the document or documents in private. I think that as far as we are concerned, it adds another resolve to our step in ensuring that there's full transparency into the process. I hope, after this process and once we inspect it, if there's a need that we challenge the restrictiveness of the document in the public interest, that's something that we'll take up that step afterwards. We are committed that the people of Ghana, to who the democracy belongs to, can audit the steps of governments across all the time. And so the issue of whether or not it should be in the public domain is something which has not been yet considered, and that's something that we'll think about. We have in fact filed for right to information request of the presidency. The presidency claimed that they did not have a copy of it and that we should speak to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We have spoken to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Today they have not complied with the request or even the direction from the presidency that they should release the document. And so, as far as we are concerned, this is a positive step, and that reinforces the arguments we are making before the court. As the court already noted, the Attorney General has made an argument that they are not required for Parliament to ratify this. This is something that we are interested in exploring even further after this. And hopefully it helps us better frame the arguments and our challenge before the court. Judges have seen the document and have, after seeing the document, resolved that it is important that we and the plaintiffs also see the document as well. So perhaps that's an indication that they think that there are issues worth challenging there. We don't know, but I think in all fairness, it is important that we have access to the document as well. What we do know is that there's a clear path forward in terms of our access to the document, and we intend immediately when the copy of the court order is available to serve same on the Attorney General and to demand inspection. Our hope and our belief is that they are going to comply. They have already shown an indication too. But if they don't, the law gives us different remedies, and we'll continue to explore those remedies. Even as I speak to you, we are exploring the potential ECOWAS action with different partners in respect of the same matter. So the avenues are not closed. Our interest is that we improve the substance of our democracy, and we'll do so through all the means that are available legally.
Lord, I was going to ask what the end game for them is, but he seeks to explain that. But do we have an understanding as to when possibly this inspection of documents would take place? Also, because we know that's supposed to take place in chambers or in camera.
Right, Marina. So Oliver also indicated that they are going to apply for the full ruling, the reasoning once that is, and if they're able to get it by close of day, they will actually do go to the Attorney General's office today, and then latest by Monday, they should have gone through and inspected this document, and then they'll know what to do from then onwards.
Right then, Lord, thank you very much for connecting with us. That's my colleague, Lord Iduasare, in court for us this afternoon, and it will take us on to the Election Command Center right now. And by that sound, you know what time it is, because political parties and interested persons seeking to contest the Ayawaso East by-election have up to the close of day today to file their nominations. The EC set today, Wednesday, February 11, as deadline for candidates to file their nominations for the election, seeking to replace the late Mohammed Nassar Toure, who was MP for the area. About 3 independent candidates have expressed interest in contesting the seat, along with the 2 leading political parties. Colleague Joseph Armstrong Gold Alogbe, who's at the Greater Accra EC office, reports the NPP's Ali Baba and the NDC's Baba Jamal have both filed their nomination, and the governing NDC yesterday, we know, cleared Baba Jamal to contest that elections after concerns about voter inducement during the party's primary over the weekend, citing the tight deadline as basis. Let's take you to the Greater Accra Regional EC office for a feel, really, of what it's been like in the lead up to the filings. That's the NDC's Baba Jamal as he was filing his nomination. Let's connect right now with Joseph Armstrong Gold Alogbe, who's joining us. Armstrong, talk to us about the arrival of the candidates, starting off with the NPP's Ali Baba Yusuf and what it was like. Who did he come with as well?
So, Mona, the NPP Yusuf came with Ibas Nemako and also that of Gary Ahmed, with some other strong NPP party executives, and they didn't come in a huge crowd like the NDC did. They came a little bit earlier in the morning, by 10 thereabouts. They were done with their filing, after which the NDC, Baba Jamal, also came in. Mana.
And let's talk about Baba Jamal now. He appeared to have had quite the numbers there. What can you tell us about the atmosphere there and what he had to tell them, if he said anything?
So, Baba Jamal came this morning to the Electoral Commission office with hundreds of supporters, crowd in the NDC colors. They came in their numbers on motorbikes, on vehicles, displaying, and the whole place that I speak to now is choked with NDC party supporters, and it's as though the party wasn't united from before. But today I can speak that all the other candidates, in the exception of the woman, which we understand that she's still mourning their husband, she wasn't available. But all the other contenders that went into the election with Baba Jamal were all available at the EC office to support him to fall. And when one of them, that is the chairman who contested, arrived, I mean, you want to see the jubilation and the welcoming from the supporters And it appears the NDC has quickly put their house in order. As you could see, many of them coming together. Some of the supporters I saw in the earlier camps were all at the EC office this afternoon to support Baba Jamal in his silence, Maura.
And just talk to me about the independent candidates in the constituency as well. Is the expectation from any of their camps that they will as well come through and file?
So with independent candidates, you are told two of them are both from the NDC camp, and that is the one thing the NDC probably wants to look out for, because these are also strong members that were for some time members of the NDC, and for whichever reason have broken away and they are now contesting as independent candidates. Now, one of them filed yesterday. I also witnessed that, and he also came with massive support, a bus full of supporters, also many people on motorbikes moving to the EC office. And it was also a massive welcoming to file his nomination form. So I must say that the independent candidates are also people we need to look out for, because they are likely to either cause some I'm not too sure.
Upsets, possible upsets in terms of how the votes turn out, in terms of elections, amongst many other things. Upsets is what they can cause. But thank you very much, Armstrong, for those details. That's my colleague Joseph Armstrong Goda-Logbe. But we know as well that the NPP's Evans Nimako accompanied their candidates Baba Jamal to the Greater Accra EC offices. Let's take a listen to what he had to tell my colleague Joseph Armstrong Goda-Logbe.
We are setting in our mind the constituency is ready to vote for our candidate, Alhaji Baba Yusuf. It will surprise you that the new Patriotic Party is going to win this seat this time around. All we know is that the party is sponsoring him. We have successfully filed our documents, and this is the beginning of the victory journey we have embarked. So, coming from the EC, we know not of any independent candidate. All that we know, and what the constituency Ayawaso is to know, is that their incoming member of parliament, the homeboy, is Yusuf Ali Baba. So when people go on the poll on 3rd March, the only person they are going to vote for is the candidate sponsored by the new Patriotic Party, the homeboy. And we will say it once again. The Holy Quran made it clear that Dawood won against Goliath because the Almighty Allah, the most merciful, granted him the victory. So our candidate, Baba Ali Yusuf, is going to emerge victorious, as Dawood did to Goliath. So be assured and keep watching. Victory is that of the new Patriotic Party. Thank you very much.
That's Evans Nimako, who is the Director of Elections of the opposition NPP, and we here are your Election Command Center. Now, the Minister for the Interior, Mohammed Muntaka Mubarak, has disclosed that a number of police officers stationed in the Boko enclave have threatened to resign if their requests for transfers are not granted. He says several officers, including those manning checkpoints in the area, have been shot and killed over the past 3 months due to disturbances in the area. Muntaka appealed to members of parliament from affected communities to help create a conducive environment for security personnel to effectively carry out their mandate.
In 25th of December and today, the number of officers that have been shot and killed in that area is alarming. Just the day before yesterday, an officer was shot and killed. And it makes it very difficult when you want to send officers there. People even go and beg that they have to be transferred. I have instances where you sit in the office and officers resign that if you don't transfer me out of that area, then I'd rather resign and leave the service. Why? Because the citizens there themselves are not helpful. To the extent that, Mr. Speaker, police officers that we put on the barrier, like checkpoints, people have courage to go openly and fire at them and kill them. Yes, in that area, to the extent that at the point that the IGP had to withdraw all police officers from checkpoints, and I had to insist that no, the answer is not to withdraw. We should rather be able to place them with armored vehicles. So when you create a situation where officers do not feel safe, and as MPs, we need to work with these security people so that we'll be able to create an enabling environment within their area so that the security people will be able to assist and help us.
Let's speak to security lecturer at the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping and Training Center, Dr. Victor Doke, on these latest revelations. Doc, I appreciate you. We've seen a number of police personnel being killed at various checkpoints within the Boko enclave over the past few months. The minister as well alluded to this. In your estimation, where are we getting it wrong, and how is this persisting, leading to the frustration of these officers?
Thank you very much, Mawid. Good day to you and your listeners. I think with what the minister has reiterated, we've talked about it with regards to how the welfare of these personnel at the border points or those who are manning the checkpoints, especially, have been exposed to the aspect of not being prepared with equipment. Okay, now the minister talked about armored cars. Not only that, but you see sometimes, as you have done some work going around, you see the tents in which these police personnel or the security personnel even live in when it comes to daytime, afternoon, and evening. Right. It's not even a well-protected, structure. Okay, so if we want to look at keeping these personnel at the checkpoints to ensure security, there's a heavy investment involved in this. Apart from you giving them the training and providing the armored vehicles, right, you look at heavy investment with regards to housing. Okay, so if you want to make all those checkpoints something like temporary bases for the police, then it has to be well structured. Now, equipment will have to go in to detect if there are threats oncoming and all of these things. Now, you talk about having high towers, the high towers to oversee the area and the enclave, so that if any threat is coming, they can clear those kind of threats. So it's not just about looking at one aspect of operational equipment, but even a holistic, aspect where investment is involved with regards to equipment severely to ensure that these security personnel have the needed atmosphere when it comes to the welfare to work with. Other than that, this will happen.
Doc, is there a failing? I want to use this word advisedly, in that we know the area. We know there's a prevalence of guns in the area. What possibly is stopping the ministry, the Interior Ministry, and the respective security agencies from being able to carry out extensive work to rid the area of the guns that exist there for a start, even as this enforcement of the Otumfuo-led committee report continues to take place?
Yeah, we've spoken about this a couple of times. Now, you can bet that why we still have the issues about proliferation of small arms and light weapons is the fact that maybe the authorities have not sat down to come up with a comprehensive map out with regards to how to get the illegal weapons out of the system. It is going to be very challenging. However, when you look at the intelligence aspect of security, and then you more in that, you will be able to locate where those communal weapons or individual weapons are even stashed. Now you look at the border areas, those border lines which are not manned by the security agencies, where these inflows also come in. Those are the areas we need to look at. So the conversation will have to be had. Okay, multi-stakeholder consultations will have to be made, had, for us to come out with a framework or blueprint for that matter on how we can rid that particular enclave from the weapons. Other than that, we'll be having these discussions, and the youth in there who feel that the weapons give them a sense of, authority, and the excuse will be to defend themselves, they would always get the weapons for the use. And unfortunately, when these weapons get into the wrong hands, this is the consequences we have: the killing of the police personnel and security personnel and innocent people who are traveling on the enclave.
Just finally, at the heart of this, we know, is the protracted chieftaincy disputes, which has been ongoing in that part of the country for a long time. We saw the president yesterday speak to the recommendations of the Otumfuo Committee report and says he will be law-abiding and ensure that the decisions of the court is respected and what have you. That Otumfuo-led committee report came some months ago, and yet the disturbances have continued. To put it simply, did we go or have we come?
We need to implement what the recommendation says to the latter. And even before the Otumfuo brought out recommendations, some of us were of the view, and we took one stance, that in a conflict situation such as this, where the law states A has to be B, and the B, comes to King himself, you need to take B out of the system and ensure A, B, and C stand. Now, if we are not able to implement the recommendations to the latter, we'll still be having this kind of issues. You implement it to the latter, you constitute the, traditional conflict resolution mechanisms in the area itself, which we all know, the Inter-Ethnic Peace Committee, resource them, retool them, reshuffle the membership, include more membership, and then you tax them. You give them the MPC, which will be that overhead peace builder overlooking their activities. Bring in more civil society organizations to also assist with regards to implementation of the recommendations. By now, we should have some sort of like a working committee or technical committee, which will be tasked with different levels of the implementation. You are taking the security aspect, you are taking the human security aspect, you are taking the issue about chieftaincy or youth aspect. We have not seen that. So, Maui, there's a lot we need to do. Okay? It is not just one size fits approach. It won't work. We need to disaggregate the recommendations bit by bit and then tax people, including CSOs, who are going to have the mandate to do the work, and you push in resources. Other than that, we won't get anywhere.
Doc, thank you very much as always. That's Dr. Victor Dock. He's a lecturer at the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping and Training Center, also a security analyst joining us this afternoon. Now, work on the Stone Lodge General Hospital project has resumed after nearly 8 months of no activity due to a lack of funds. The project's contractor, Polychanda Overseas, returned to site on January 31 with a number of the workers following the payment of certificates by government. The news team visited the site on Wednesday, as today, and with workers busily going about their duties. My colleague Sarah Penkroy is there, but we'll connect with her shortly. But the La General Hospital is one that has been front and center in terms of a conversation about health service and health delivery for quite some time. If you recall, in the previous administration, it was one of the many things that the former president was given stick for. Let's walk you through what the timelines have been and why we are here, and whether or not, really, the completion date is still within target after near 8 months of inactivity. And so here's what we are at. So March 2020, it closed over severe structural cracks, and patients were redirected to other hospitals, and the plan was that a new hospital was going to be put up. The old hospital building by July was demolished, paving way for August 11, the president cutting sword for the construction of a 68 million euro hospital, Polychanda being the contractor responsible for this. As of 2021, the project had stalled due to loan and insurance delays. By March of 2022, physical construction officially began for the 160 modern bed facility. From March, we went into 2023. The budget was revised to 50 million, and then funding gaps slowed the work. January of 2024, construction resumed. About 20% of completion by the mid-year was what the target was. And then in the late days of 2024, the work slowed again. In January 2025, there was a budget, 130 million cedis allocated to revive the progress of the project. Mid-2025, the estimate was that 30% was completed, and a target was set for between this year and next year, for the hospital to be completed. And then we know that it stalled again, and now the payment certificates have been paid, and so work is resuming, or has resumed, and we're taking you there right now, where my colleague Sarah Penkro is stationed to get us a bit more in terms of details from there. Sarah, talk to us. Project has resumed, the work has resumed on the site. How are residents as well reacting to this?
Well, as I rightly said, the residents are quite happy, but they are also skeptic and asking government they would not want to have the project halted again, and they are hoping that there will be seamless transition and then the release of funds to the contractor so that the work continues till it's completed on the stipulated timeline of 2 years to be completed. So the community they are happy, but they are also measured in their expectation, because the actual amount that has been given to the contractor has not been stated. It's not certain, and so they don't know whether all the 130 million that government pledged when the Minister of Health and some government officials visited last year, October, would be the exact amount that will be given to the contractor. But they are happy the contractor is back on site. I am here. I see the workers, some of the expatriates around. They are removing the scaffold pipes, taking it to the first floor to enable the second floor slabs take place, for it also to start, so we can see some progress happening there. So in the community, I should say they are happy, and would follow through as we do always to see to it that the project is completed for the people as promised by government.
Any sighting of the contractor and perhaps him detailing if we're still within the timelines for the completion of the project?
In fact, just since I got here this morning, I haven't been able to get any official response. I haven't seen the contractor on site. It's quite fortunate that I was able to have access to see to the progress of work being done since they resumed a week ago to the site.
Right then, you said you interacted with some residents. I'm sure we can listen to a number of them now. Sarah. I get an indication. We'll listen to them subsequently. But I appreciate you joining us this afternoon, Sarah.
You're welcome.
That's my colleague Sarah Penkro speaking to us this afternoon from the La General Hospital project area. Let's bring you some other stories, because President John Dramani Mahama has urged the newly inaugurated Presidential Advisory Group on the Economy to prioritize evidence-based analysis and independent counsel in the discharge of their mandate. Speaking at the inaugural meeting of members of the group, the president stressed the need for objective and data-driven policy guidance as the country navigates its economic recovery efforts.
Fiscal policy, monetary management, capital markets, private enterprise.
on, the president had inaugurated the Presidential Advisory Group on the Economy, where most of the senior government officials who work at the presidency and outside of the presidency and are cabinet members also attended that inauguration. And so they just moved from there and went into the cabinet meeting. The understanding we get is that shortly after the deliberations, where a solution will be found to the matter, there will be an address to the press on the way forward. The president, we are told, is very worried about the situation. The more reason why he had to summon this emergency meeting for a solution to be had on this matter. And the solution is not just a temporary one. They intend to have a solution that will run across so they don't come back to a problem like this again. The issue of Cocoa Board, obviously had to do with the debt they find themselves. And so there's a need for a lasting solution to the matter. And so just shortly after the cabinet meeting, they will be addressing the press on the way forward and when possibly the farmers will be receiving their monies.
Right then, Komla, will be on standby for the exclusive details as it comes through from that cabinet meeting. That's Komla Kluche, is our presidential affairs correspondent, joining us this afternoon, where he says that meeting is currently underway. It just moved from the Presidential Advisory Group on the Economy, and then it went into the cabinet meeting. And from there will be an address to the country as well in relation to the solutions, right? The solutions which have been proffered from cabinet to deal a decisive blow to this particular challenge. But let's take you right now from the presidency to the headquarters of the Electoral Commission, because an Inter-Party Advisory Committee meeting, IPAC, is happening. But we will take you there after this break here on News Central. Stay with us. We're back. We'll take you to the Electoral Commission plus some other stories if you stay with us.
Why are more and more professionals choosing Flamingo Paint?
As an interior decorator, I aim for that beautiful, elegant look. Flamingo Paint has great hiding ability to cover and transform old walls easily with just one coat.
Impressive. For me, as a professional painter, I love Flamingo Paint because with just small paints that paint huge area, meaning more profit for me. Great value for money.
As an architect, Flamingo Paint, with its well-researched and solid composition, guarantees durability for all my buildings.
Flamingo Paint, superior hiding, superior coverage, superior durability. Flamingo Paint, simply superior.
The capital was just the beginning. Now, the war moves to the fortress, the mighty porcupine